So no one's happy with these new people?
No, those who are changed, I don't know all of them, but I can assure you that the one person that counts, the Minister of Interior, he's probably worse than the one who was there before. I don't know if people are aware of this point, because he was the one responsible for prisons, and this was where most of the torture was going on. But I'm sure the news will spread sooner or later, and people are going to realize that, and it's going to give them a reason to upscale their protest. We've seen an upscale of protest from last Tuesday to last Friday, and we're expecting something similar, inshallah, the coming days, because some people don't have the stamina to uphold the same spirit for a continuing number of days. But when you give them some sort of a goal to achieve, we're going to be 1 million today, we're going to be I don't know how many this day, and you've given them some sort of a break before that, inshallah, they'll deliver.
And speaking of goal, what is the ultimate goal for the protest? What is the point of the protest?
The point of the protest is manifold. The regime has to change, the president and the cabinet has to change. But more importantly, the state of emergency has to be lifted. The constitution has to be changed. The presidency has to be limited to a 2-term. The way the people are allowed to nominate themselves for presidency has to change, because we had a recent amendment in the constitution that made it practically impossible for anyone outside the NDP to nominate themselves.
Right.
The current parliament has to be dissolved because of, well, it was quite apparent rigging of the recent elections. The opposition generally in the parliament and elsewhere are making very clear demands that are supposed to represent the people's will. What I'm seeing on the ground is that people are going about this a little bit emotionally, and they're focusing on the ousting of Mubarak more than anything else. But I hope that they can see the bigger picture, and that it's not a matter of one person or another. It's a matter of, it's an institutionalized problem. You have a problem with their constitution now. It used to be with people, but now you have bigger issues.
Do you think that all this would have happened if it wasn't for Tunisia?
No, I don't think so. I think that what we're seeing today has happened for it's not many reasons as much as it is different things adding up. Some people are here because they are fed up with the economical situation. Some people are here because they are fed up with the civil rights. Some people are here because they just want more freedom. The Tunisian uprising, it gave people the hope that it is actually possible to topple a dictatorship.
You were saying that there's people on the ground with different goals. I mean, tell me, who do you have in front of you? Like, are there women, children, families, any particular, religious or political background?
You name it. You have young people, you have old people, you have women, you have men, you have women who are wearing hijab, you have women who are wearing niqab, you have women who are coming with a boyfriend, you have people from the American University in Cairo, you have people who are not educated at all, you have women who are pregnant actually, and they're not fearing to come and voice their opinions. You have people with beards, you have people with ponytails. I mean men with beards and men with ponytails. You have all sorts of people. I can tell you that every single possible typical Egyptian is here. The only people who are not here who are people who are fine with the regime, and people who are managing their way, but people who feel the responsibility towards the society. I think you can say that everyone's there.
Okay, and how do you think that you and the general public, how do you all think that this will end? Do you truly believe that Hosni Mubarak will leave?
I can go maybe through 10 cycles of thinking he'll leave and then thinking he won't leave in a single day. Sami Anan, he's in the Egyptian military. He issued a statement saying that the position of the Egyptian military is that it attests to the legitimacy of the demands of the Egyptian people, the protesters at least, and that he will not, the army won't harm a single Egyptian citizen.
But they still haven't made their position clear as to who they're loyal to. Or do you think that statement means they're loyal to the Egyptian people?
It doesn't mean they're loyal to the Egyptian people, but attesting to the legitimacy of their demands is, I think it's enough at this point. It's enough good news at this point. Tunisia waited for a whole month until change was achieved, and up to and to this very day they're still protesting to get the exact picture they were having in mind. And we should not expect any more, because we're actually a much more we're a much bigger country. We have probably a more complex setup with how we were having maybe greater freedom of expression earlier. So it's coming. It's coming.
Ahmed, what is the hardest thing for you throughout this past week?
The hardest thing throughout this past week was the fact that I didn't join the protest on Tuesday. When I saw the people gathering up in Tahrir Square, 60,000 or even less, and actually making news and making history, I felt very guilty. I could not stand it.
So you went and joined right after?
Yes. I joined, and I tried my best to get others to join. There are all sorts of chants. They all revolve about Mubarak leaving. Some say that he should leave, we won't leave. Some call on Jamal, his son, to tell him that he's not really wanted and everyone hates him. I think if you were to get a little bit creative, you would understand exactly what kind of rhymes they're making.
I think the messages are coming across loud and clear.
At some point, they simply repeat the word "go" time after time, and to make it clear for him, because the statement he made Friday night was as if he didn't get the point. So people are focusing on mentioning his name more than anything else, so that the message is clear and there's no room for misunderstanding.
Right. Okay. We actually had rallies here in Australia on Friday, Saturday and Sunday in support of the Egyptian protests. So if there was one thing you could say to the Australians here, what would it be?
Thank you. Thank you. Really, you have no idea. Unfortunately, people are not quite aware of the protests taking place outside of Egypt. But I can tell you, I've seen how many countries have responded to the protests taking place in Egypt, and I couldn't feel... I don't recall a time when I felt more flattered and more thankful, really, because it makes a difference both on the individual level and definitely on the international level. When you're watching the news and you're seeing how many people are putting pressure on the government to do something and listen to the demands of the people, it definitely boosts our morale. And some people out there are making more sacrifices than others.
I think it's amazing just how much people are willing to sacrifice their lives for this cause that you're all out there protesting for.
Every now and then someone raises this point and reminds everyone that people have lost their lives in this thing, and we will not let their blood go in waste, and let's not forget them when we're making prayers for this country.
Well, we're definitely all making prayers for you, inshallah, and we hope that by the end of this, you all feel that it's been worth the bloodshed and been worth the time spent out
Inshallah, it will be worth it in any case. For every single person will get the reward that they deserve, whether in this life or in the afterlife.
Inshallah.
At times, I think to myself whether people have done enough or not. And I think, yes, they have done enough. They have conquered the fear that they have been trying to deal with for 30 years or more now. But then I keep thinking, I hope this is enough. I hope this is enough. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Ahmed Ebeid from Tahrir Square in Egypt, we thank you very much for your time and wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Y Factor.
So to find out what people are thinking about the Middle East situation, we hit the streets of Sydney. What do you think of what's happening in Egypt?
I've been sleeping for the last 30 years. So by the time they're waking up, must have been someone down there gave the people some speed, wake them up, and said they put them to sleep with other drugs.
Well, I don't really know what's happening in Egypt. Just when I turn on the TV, it's always on. People in the streets protesting, fighting. It's pretty sad.
The people are hungry. They need to eat. They need money. They need places to live.
I think it's a good cause. The people are fed up with Hosni Mubarak. He hasn't given them anything for the last 30 years except less tyranny. Yes, and I think they need to have a democracy now. And the people are fed up. So I wish them all the best in their venture.
A lot of corruption, a lot of injustice, poverty. Egypt used to be a different country before.
Do you think Mubarak will leave?
I think now he preparing himself to leave. You know why? Because the last paper, the last card he playing with is the army. Inshallah, if the people continue in their protest, then inshallah oblige them to leave the country.